That's the future of the heavyweight division, right there. That boy is so equipped. He's got so many skills, so many assets. He's unbelievable. The only thing that I worry about with Moses is the size. But ultimately, as we've seen now, size becomes irrelevant.
You know, I even phoned Dillian, like, Dillian, I don't know why you're taking this fight, you know, because this kid is on fire right now, and he's getting better and better. It's not like he's going backwards, he's going forward. Moses is on fire, so we're just gonna decide who's gonna go to prison when Dillian gets battered.
I think he's a good kid. I've said in the past that I think he can be a champion, and I do think, just like I said with Jared Anderson, I think Jared and Moses are very, very both.
The bells are ringing loud and clear across the boxing world, and they're not for a celebration. They're alarm bells, warning Dillian Whyte not to step into the ring with Moses Itauma. Voices from every corner of the fight game are growing louder, more urgent, and brutally honest. This isn't just another comeback bout for Whyte. It's a calculated setup that could end in humiliation, if not worse. And when Tony Bellew speaks, the boxing world listens. The former cruiserweight champion has made his stance crystal clear. Dillian, don't do it. His words are...
But he's the next in line. I think he's the future of the heavyweight division. I think he's an outstanding talent. I think he's got a good team around him, Ben Davison and Lee Wiley. Wiley is the brains that study everything, and they use what we call video analysis now in boxing. They're the one team
laced with malice. They come from someone who's been in the trenches and knows what a mismatch looks like. Bellew doesn't sugarcoat it. This isn't a test for Moses Itauma. It's a platform, a springboard into superstardom. Bellew went even further.
So that new star establishes himself, so we'll just wait and see, but it's exciting.
What do you make of Itauma versus Dillian Whyte?
It's a good fight. Dillian likes to fight. He'll have to tear up. Yeah. You know, you can't test this man's cojones. You know, he'll fight anybody and everybody. So with Dillian doing that, you think, you know what? You know, it's a good fight, good testing fight, and like, you know, he might be a gatekeeper.
Drawing comparisons between Moses and the elusive genius of Moses Usyk, but he didn't stop at admiration. He declared Moses the future king of the heavyweight division. That's a bold statement from a man who shared the ring with legends. And when Bellew, who knows what greatness feels like, tells you a storm is coming, you'd better start.
You look at Moses. Moses is ranked #1 now by the WBO. So if he were to fight Moses, then that puts him in the #1 spot. If he
boarding up the windows, Dillian Whyte is no stranger to danger. He's battled the best. He's traded bombs with Joshua, Povetkin, and Fury. But Moses, this is different. This isn't just about power. It's about evolution. Moses Itauma is young, fast, smart, and lethal. This isn't bravery from Whyte. It's reckless.
And give it everything, because he knows it's last chance saloon for him. He needs the victory here. So, look, we find out just how good Moses Itauma is, I think, on the 16th of August when he boxes Dillian Whyte, because I think he wins it and wins it in style. But everyone they put in front of him so far is just dismantled. I think this kid's going to go on and...
The boxing insiders see it. Johnny Nelson was blunt in his assessment. Whyte is no longer a top contender. He's not in line for titles. He's a gatekeeper, and this isn't a shot at his legacy. It's an honest reflection of the current landscape. If Dillian chooses...
It's going to be interesting to see how much that Dillian Whyte has left. And could this be potential? I think it does have the potential to do what Martin McCauley did to Jared Anderson. Maybe it's too early, or maybe he passes with flying colours. And that's why you got to watch it and find out. But one thing I will say about Moses is he's a very good fighter, good little boxer, good puncher, and a lovely kid as well. It's like a sponge.
To face Moses, it won't be for glory. It will be about survival, and even that's not guaranteed. Frank Warren, the ever-calculating promoter, didn't mince words either. He laid out the business angle behind the fight. It's not just personal, it's strategic. If Whyte beats Moses, he jumps the queue. He puts himself back in contention. But that's a big if, because Moses isn't just a name on a record. He's a nightmare, a polished, hungry, and terrifying prospect on the brink of global attention. Spencer Oliver, another respected voice, isn't sitting on the fence either. He sees Moses dismantling Whyte in style. Not a close fight, not a gritty war, a one-sided announcement, a statement win. This isn't just about Moses winning. It's about Moses making the world take notice.
There's a lot more punches than that, and I have a lot more punches than that. So, you know, I'm not just focusing on one punch. I'm focusing more on strategy and get into the strategic position to learn what we're learning. It's southpaw, so you know you can't just walk up to him and learn left hook and then the same like you do on other people. So you have to set it up and timing and stuff. So yeah, just been working more on that.
And Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King himself, sees the danger too. He's watched Moses closely, and he's impressed. Speed, power, ring IQ. Fury called Moses a sponge, not as an insult, but as a stark warning. Moses is absorbing everything, evolving faster than anyone expected. If Whyte isn't at 100%, this could end quickly and badly. And let's talk about Whyte's mindset. His recent interviews don't exude confidence. They reek of overcompensation. Gone are the days of calling for war, threatening chaos, and guaranteeing destruction. Now it's all about strategy, position, and timing. It sounds rehearsed, like a man trying to convince himself more than the public. Whyte was never a technical master. He's a brawler, a dog in the ring. His grit and raw aggression were his trademarks. But now, up against Moses, a slick, elusive, tactical nightmare, that dog won't hunt.
Did message him. I was like, listen, I don't know why you're taking that fight, for what reason. And he goes, oh, he don't care, you know, my friend, you know. So I was like, listen, just be careful. And I messaged Moses. I'm like, Moses, just fight him, but don't put him to sleep.
Moses isn't going to stand still. He won't be there to be hit. He'll move, slip, counter, and punish. If Whyte's game plan is theoretical, Moses will make it a violent reality because the younger man isn't guessing. He's locked in. He's ready. And Whyte, he's still trying to decode the enigma from the outside. That alone tells you who holds the upper hand before the first bell even rings. And it's not just pundits talking. Dillian's own peers are sounding the alarm. Derek Chisora, the war-hardened veteran who's gone toe-to-toe with the likes of Fury, Usyk, and Parker, didn't pull punches. His warning to Whyte was as honest as it gets. Why are you doing this? That statement alone says everything. This isn't about legacy anymore. It's about self-preservation. And Chisora's cheeky warning to Moses.
A guy who's 24 years old, who's got his always faculties right, getting trained by one of the best trainers in the United Kingdom. And then, mate, it's like you got more chance of winning the lottery than you beating that Moses Itauma, let's be honest.
Don't put him to sleep that badly. That's not just banter. It's a veiled admission that everyone expects this to end ugly. If a man like Chisora, who's never ducked a fight in his life, is telling you to reconsider, you're already standing on shaky ground. Let's be honest. Moses Itauma isn't just a rising prospect. He's a problem. Sharp, slick, hungry, and dangerous. Whyte, on the other hand, looks like a man dragging himself into battle with heavy legs, a worn-out chin, and heavier baggage. The mental and physical toll is visible. Chisora didn't stop there. He laid it bare. According to Del Boy, Whyte has a better chance of hitting the lottery than beating Moses. That's not shade. That's truth. Cold, hard, and undeniable truth. Whyte is facing a
I think Itauma has the goods. I really do. And I do think Dillian Whyte will get sacrificed like a lamb, but I don't think he's a sacrificial lamb. I think he's an old head who still feels that, you know what, I'm gonna bring in the old school and get rid of the new school and let everybody know that this guy Itauma has no business in the ring with me. Now, if you ask me what happens in that fight, I think Dillian Whyte gets tranquilized. But stop with all this crap about Moses Itauma as a hype job. Dillian Whyte's over the hill. I tell you what, if you said I had to pick one, is Moses Itauma a hype?
4-year-old machine who's firing on all cylinders. Meanwhile, Dillian looks like a man chasing one last payday. This fight isn't competitive. It's a warning. And from Chisora's tone, it could be Dillian's last stand. The pundits aren't using metaphors anymore. They're not dancing around the topic. They're calling it what it is, a scheduled execution. Simon Jordan, never one to mince words, tore through the business side of it all. According to him, Team Moses wouldn't even entertain this matchup if there was real danger. Dillian Whyte isn't being picked because he's a threat. He's being picked because he's a name, a recognizable scalp. Just enough resistance to look credible, but not enough to derail Moses' momentum. That's the most damning thing. A fighter who once banged on the door of world titles is now seen as a stepping stone, a gatekeeper, a name to be added.
I think it's a great fight, you know, but it'll be fascinating to see how Moses goes against Dillian. I don't think they put him in against Dillian Whyte if they think there's real jeopardy for them. I think they might get a few rounds and get asked a few more questions than possibly they've been asked by Marius Wack and Dempsey McKean, but I don't think much
to a prospect's resume. This isn't matchmaking, it's calculated demolition. The man who once co-headlined massive shows against Anthony Joshua is now being compared to the likes of Dempsey McKean. That says everything. And once Moses gets in that ring, the public will see why there's little to no risk. Some believe it might be competitive. Some cling to hope that Dillian might have one last surprise left. But even the optimists are cautious. Adam Smith, always careful with his words, walked the tightrope. He hinted at Moses' overwhelming advantage, but left a sliver of intrigue. He acknowledged the possibility of a surprise, but made it clear that the buzz around Moses is real, and for good reason. Smith admits it, some insiders expect Moses to dispatch Whyte with ease, and why wouldn't they? Every test Moses has faced, he's passed. Every challenge he's made look routine. And what has Dillian done lately to suggest
that? I think he's very, very good, Moses Itauma. So some people might say he'll get rid of Dillian Whyte like he has the others. Maybe not. Maybe Dillian's too much for him at this stage, which is why it's
suggest he can flip the script. Not much. Since his knockout loss to Fury, everything, his chin, his aura, even his confidence, has looked vulnerable. This isn't a test of Moses' toughness. It's a test of Dillian's survival instincts. And even there, Moses has the edge. Because this isn't just about fists. It's about finesse. About calculated violence. Moses Itauma isn't just fast. He's smart. He thinks 2 steps ahead. Adam Smith said it best. Moses presents an unsolvable puzzle. If you throw, he counters. If you wait, he traps. If you rush, he punishes. For a guy like Dillian, whose strengths were pressure, grit, and aggression, Moses is the worst kind of opponent. Every mistake will be capitalized on. Every pause will be turned into punishment. It's chess at lightning speed, and Whyte is still playing checkers. Add to that Moses' footwork, his combinations, and his composure, and you've got the perfect storm. This is why the experts...
The problem with Moses is that his feet and his distance and his range is so good, and he's so quick, that if you commit to the punches, you're going to get countered. And if you don't, you're going to get backed up and taken out. So it's a real puzzle. There's not many heavyweights that are southpaws. Obviously, Alexander Usyk is, but he's moved up into that.
Aren't hesitating. They believe Whyte won't just lose. He'll be broken, systematically. Once Moses finds his groove, the storm will be unstoppable. Andrew McCart cuts through the noise. He breaks down what's really going on. This fight isn't about pride, redemption, or legacy. It's about business. Dillian Whyte is chasing a payday, and that alone is the most telling sign of where he stands. When a fighter walks into battle with dollar signs instead of hunger, the war's already half lost. Moses needs this test. The promotion knows it. The fans know it. The media knows it. And if Whyte knows it too, he's cashing in before it's too late. That's the harsh reality. Whyte's name still holds weight, but the body behind it doesn't. Adeladipo touched on something deeper. Energy, presence, aura. The old Dillian Whyte had an edge. He threw tables. He dominated press conferences. He believed he was...
I mean, I like the fight. The reason being is because Moses Itauma, we've been saying now, is that guy. He needs that test. He needs that step up. And I think Dillian Whyte is that guy. Dillian Whyte's probably found it hard now to get that big fight. He's probably said, I'll fight Moses Itauma if you give me X amount of money. And that's probably why...
The baddest man in the room. But that edge is gone. Replaced by cautious words and strategic talk. The knockout scars are real, and they linger. Meanwhile, Moses is just 20. That's wild. A teenager with veterans backing away. Whyte used to be the guy prospects feared. Now he's the one checking over his shoulder. The power dynamic has flipped. And that's psychological warfare at its finest. Dillian's only shot doesn't start with punches. It starts with belief, with presence, with attitude. But Moses doesn't rattle. He grew up watching Whyte. Now he's ready to retire him. This isn't just another heavyweight clash. It's a crossroads. Dillian Whyte is a battle-worn warrior clinging to one last hope. Moses Itauma is the future. Fresh, hungry, and terrifying. For Whyte, everything is on the line. If he wins, he turns.
We need to almost see the old school Dillian Whyte who, wasn't afraid of anyone, would put it on anyone, because Moses is still only 20. And I almost feel like if Dillian needs a path to victory, it might start from outside the ring first, and then we'll see. Because there would have been a time when Moses is grown up and he's watching Dillian.
Turns back the clock. If he loses, and badly, it's over. No more redemption, no more main events, just a slow fade into boxing's rearview mirror. For Moses, this is the night he announces himself. The arrival of the new king. If he flattens Whyte, the world will watch. And remember, this is the shift, the new era, and it starts with the fall of the old guard. So what do you think? Is Whyte the gatekeeper who shocks the world one last time? Or just the next name on Moses Itauma's path to domination? Drop your predictions in the comments. The storm is coming, and it has a name, Moses Itauma.